And we're live. All right, cool. Welcome, y'all, to the Relationship Reignited series. You guys, gals, if you're tuning in for your first time, the series is designed, the conversations are designed high level that if you're already in a long-term relationship and perhaps you've lost the spark, the romance, the intimacy, it's become starting to feel like a roommate situation or something like that. And you also, you know that, you're aware of that, and you want to get it back on track and get the love back, the passion back. Well, that's what the conversation is designed to do. And I'm excited about this conversation today with Larry. Larry Mitchell is the man. He brings a totally, I'm a geek for like personality style quadrants or human design or different things of that nature. And Larry brings something to the table I haven't seen before. It's something similar to those, but not so totally different. So I'll give a brief snippet about Larry. Larry's the world's leading authority in the field of genetic energetics and foremost expert on partnerships. So Larry, I probably totally butchered what you do already, but my man, welcome to the series.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah,
Appreciate
man,
it.
I'm grateful to have you. How about introduce yourself as well? You're doing something super unique. Could you share a little bit about what you're up to in the world? And then also like what attracted you to come here and chat about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version.
Okay.
So last name, by the way, is pronounced Michael, but it looks like
It's
Mitchell. So
pronounced Michael,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
I was
That's
on a
okay.
roll. Okay.
You
My
know what?
apologies
And
for that.
and and 99% of the people pronounce it wrong because it's spelled Mitchell, but whatever. Anyhow,
Okay. Thank you for correcting me.
that's okay. You're welcome. All right. So how'd I get into this? Well, ever since I was a little kid, I was looking for love, and I wanted to understand relationships. And I didn't grow up around that. I grew up in the 50s and 60s. I just dated myself, and uh, and that wasn't important then. What was important was, for especially for little boys, is that you grew up, you got an occupation, you found your one occupation, that was your occupation. You were gonna, retire with it, and that we built things, and it was our responsibility to create a house, create a home, and all that kind of stuff. And I literally never heard my parents say I love you to each other until I was 40, right?
Ah, wow.
So I looked for it, but at the same time, there were movies coming out. It was like Elvis and Viva Las Vegas and all that kind of stuff. And so love was everywhere, but within my home. So I was looking for it and looking for that connection. And it became a search that has followed me through my entire life. I know the answers to it now better than ever, and it's part of the reason why I do what I do. But the path to get there took me through all kinds of different relationship environments, multiple marriages, one of them that lasted 16 years and produced three kids. And,
Ah,
so I have a real good idea about marriage and a philosophy around it. And I really respect the institution of it, mostly partnership. It doesn't matter to me whether someone has a marriage license, but the commitment in partnership is huge, right?
yeah. Yeah.
And it just enough that a number of years ago, when I was in a relationship and really wanted it to become a long-term partnership and it wasn't working out, I was doing everything I could, Shawn, to try and fix it, because that was what I thought I needed to do. You needed to fix it. If there's a problem, I'm a guy, fix the dang thing, right?
Yeah.
And so we went to therapists, we went to coaches. I studied to be a tantric master because I thought that would help with the sexuality issues that showed up. And, I basically tried about everything until one day I was at an event, and not in a very good space, because we're not in good spaces when relationships are going sideways. And on the very last day, this guy who was sitting 5 seats from me for 3 days that I never even met because I didn't want to talk to anybody really. Um, he gets up and he says, I can tell you something about your relationship no one else has been able to tell you that's going to help you understand it. I went, "Hmm."
He said this directly to you
He said this
or
to this
to
group of
everybody?
20 people, right?
Okay. Okay.
And so I kind of go, oh, I know. This is the guy I've been squeezing by, for 3 days to get to my seat. By the way, I sat next to a wall because the wall wouldn't talk to me, right? So it was the
Oh,
safe place to
wow.
be.
That paints a
And
picture.
Yeah, it does paint a picture, right? I just was there to support my friend who was putting on the seminar. And so afterwards, I get together with him and he brings out this book and he asks me for a couple pieces of information, which we're going to have a free gift that we're going to give people that they're going to want to get this. And he asked me for my birth date and then my biological mother's birth date, and then asked me for my girlfriend's birth date and her father's birth date. So I didn't have my mom's birth date or my father's. The other two I knew. Calling my mom was tricky because you just don't call your mom and ask her when her birthday is. They don't like that. So I called my sister instead. I got the second worst level of guilt for that one, but I got the information. Then I call my soon to be ex-girlfriend and I ask her, what's her
Uh,
father's birthday? And she goes, "What are you doing?" Right. And I went, "Just humor me." And so I get this information. He puts it into this book. He has this big ass book that he's getting this out of. And then he opens it up and he gives me information that was so accurate, Shawn, that it was mind boggling. And it described all the issues in our relationship, but it did more than that. It gave me information about me that released me from kind of shame and guilt that went back 3 decades, that had to do with
wow.
how I did business. And because I've had a lot of successful businesses, but I haven't stayed with any of them until this one. But prior to this, it's like huge successful restaurant, photographer, all kinds of different things. But there was a point where I kind of got tired of them. And what was really happening, I discovered, is that I created the thing. I created it. Once it was created, I didn't want to run it. Once it was created, I didn't really want to run it. And that was one of what's called a modifier, and the modifiers in this system described that personality trait and some other things that go with it. And it just allowed me to go, "Oh, it's true. It really is true." Like I would build these things, they'd be award winning. And then for whatever reason, it just didn't keep me excited. I didn't get out of bed in the morning, really excited to
Mm,
go to work and keep the thing running, so to speak. So I would make a lousy COO is the point with that one, right? Um,
yeah.
anyhow, the long and short of it is that I was so impressed. And the gentleman asked me, I said, "What are you doing with this?" He said, "The man who created it passed away 2 years ago, and I need help. Do you want to help market it?" And I went, "Well, here's the challenge. What you told me was super accurate, but I don't know if it's going to be this accurate to anybody else. So what do we do with that?" And I said, "Let me study it." And he gave me 2 years, and I interviewed close to 1,000 couples. And in that period of time, it was never wrong. And I went,
Wow.
"Okay, something's here. There's really something here." And I took an interest in the company. But then something that I did not plan on started to happen. I was getting emails from people that I would go back to. And like, here, this is what it would look like. It would be like if you called me up and said, "Hey, I just got married. Let's run a profile on me and my new wife." And I go run it. And then he would look at it and go, "Oh, they're very different. This will never work." Well,
Mm,
I wouldn't come back to you, Shawn, my friend, and go, "Hey, Shawn, I just found out you're right. Your relationship's not going to work. So you should like cut bait and just, escape as soon as possible." I mean,
sure.
that would be rude and horrible to do to someone. And the other is that I sensed it wasn't true, right? And but when I did go back, I would go back and go, "Look at, here's your differences, and here's how you can accommodate from them." So I took my background in psychology and therapy and coaching, and I started to apply it because I didn't just want to give someone bad news and say, "Sorry, bye, good luck."
Yeah.
That,
Next.
that was next. No, that would have been horrifically terrible. And so, can you put those two together? Yeah, bad. Anyhow,
I have a
I
divorce attorney for you. I get a referral if you want a referral.
yeah, something drastic like that. So
Yeah.
what ended up happening though is I would get emails from some of the people that I talked to, and they would say things like, "By the way, thank you, you saved our marriage."
Wow.
Or,
Cool.
"Thank you, I haven't talked to my dad in 30 years." Or, "Thank you, my son and I are getting along now. We haven't." Or, "I'm talking with my sisters." There were
Wow.
things I'm going, "Whoa, this isn't about matchmaking. This is about relationships in general." And I ended up taking it into businesses and working with companies and taking it even into education and stopping bullying, right? Just
Wow.
by introducing this. So it became what I realized with all of the work, it became what I would call my Dharma path. And it's the first time in my life that, with all the different things that I've created, and even being partners with Tony Robbins and designing his corporate training system at the time, it was like that was grandiose and wonderful and explorative. And I learned a lot from it. But I was building it for someone else, right?
Right.
And this, I got the key thing that was going on here at the end of the day fit very just intimately into what I believe I'm here for, which is to make sure that not a single human being ever feels insignificant. And this system does that. And
Love that.
and that became my dharma path. And it also became my, a big teacher. So the next major relationship that I had, and I had a couple of short ones, but I had a really beautiful 6 year long relationship that she's actually one of my best friends today.
Wow.
But because of it, part of what I wrote about in the book Lasting that we can talk about, there's pieces there that have demonstrated to me and how I've now researched and looked at it that I know are key ingredients for a relationship to last. Like I can tell you specifically, for example, that if co-creation is not in your partnership, and there's really very specific elements to co-creation, the way I describe it, that over time the partnership won't last. It just won't. And there are a lot of people get into relationships and do what they think is routine and they stop co-creating with each other. And then they wonder where the love went or where the excitement for each other went. And just that one single ingredient is enough to dismantle a relationship. So for those in partnerships, I will say to you, if you're not co-creating, you better get with it.
Yeah, I love that. Let's go. The story is powerful. We talked a little bit offline. We should have recorded it. And I did get those dates for you, by the way. I got my wife's dad's date, so we could plug that in a little bit later. But Larry was running a profile for me just for the audience. And on my wife, she already ran her profile. We're pulling her data up to see where we're compatible and where we're not. Larry, show them the glasses. I just want the audience gets to have some fun with those glasses that you got.
What I told him, so he's got this thing called false attractions, and attractions is our word for chemistry. And chemistry, just so you know, everybody's felt it. Like chemistry is wonderful. It's delicious. It's so yummy. And it's that thing that when you meet someone and you're really attracted to them, you can feel it in your body. It's everywhere. You can't get them off your mind. Everything
Yeah,
seems great. And you put these on,
love it. Come on,
right?
man.
And
Yeah,
and
that's
when
the
you're
free
wearing
gift,
these,
by
it's
the
kind of
way.
like,
Everybody gets a
oh,
gift.
yeah, oh my God. Oh, I just love this person. I just like I can't. Yes, they can't do anything wrong. And when you get these things on, by the way, that's when someone can say to you, "Oh yeah, honey, I'm going to quit smoking." Yep, I'll quit. And 2 years later, they're still smoking, right? And they're gone. And it allows you. It kind of puts you in a place where you're a bit drugged up. And they're wonderful drugs, but they also blind us a little bit. And
I
so we
see. So
have to
you mean the partner says I'll stop smoking. The partner who's a non-smoker doesn't like smoking,
right.
but they
They
let
put
it
up with it.
go.
They
They
kid
put
they
up with it because they're the way that they're attracted, if you
right.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
chemistry is
powerful.
running the show. So basically
I
when you've
see.
got oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin and norepinephrine and PEA and testosterone are all elevated, you pretty much, your partner can't do anything wrong.
I see.
And they do something mean and you go, "Oh, they just had a bad day." They do something mean again, "Oh, it's another bad day."
Ah,
And you never stand up for yourself and go, "No, no, 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 that's not okay with me," right? You figure a way to write it off because you don't want the conflict because you're feeling so good. So, and by the way, chemistry, whether people are alike or different, it all has that same impact. It dopes us up. It's a narcotic. It's a drug. It's
mm.
literally one of the most powerful drugs in existence. Ask any brain surgeon that has done the research around the neurotransmitters and the chemicals related to chemistry. And for you and your wife, you both have false attractions, which in your case is great because it means that you're going to have chemistry with someone that is a different communication style than you are, and you both have two different communication styles.
Yeah,
And
totally opposite.
totally opposite, right? So,
Yeah.
but you got this kind of this doped up sense of you that says, we'll make this work. We'll make this work. So you have an extra neurotransmitter incentive to keep you going. Now you just have to make sure that you don't create pain in the relationship because that's what causes it all to go away. And that's not the only thing you need to do. Obviously, it's the biggest thing that you have to do when you have differences in your genetic energetics is take the time to really discover what they are and find a way to embrace them and acknowledge and honor them.
Mm,
It's and this is a really ridiculously obvious analogy, but you have a man and a woman in a relationship, husband, wife, right? Male, female, we'll leave out all the other external things that this could. Sorry about that. How do we
yeah,
stop
right.
this? Do this. No, sorry.
You're
Um,
good.
yeah. So you have a man and a woman, right? So the man's not going to say to the woman, "Hey, I need you to be a man. I just need you to be a man." And the woman, the woman's not going to look at the man and say, "Well, I need you to be a woman." Now, there's times when women would like men to be more understanding of women, and men would like women to understand their men better. That's
Sure.
okay. But you're not going to change, right? You're a man, she's a woman. And to expect us to physically change, that's not going to happen. Emotionally, we can understand each other's differences, but if I'm a really smart woman, an aware woman, an evolved woman, I don't want you to be a woman. I want you to be all man. I want you to be the divine masculine. I want to embrace the fact that providing, protecting, and progressing humanity are the three key things that men do, right? And
Totally, man. Yeah.
and I want my woman to see that in me. So when I go off wanting to save the world, she doesn't think I've lost my mind, right? But can
Yeah.
support me, right?
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or I decide, look at they shouldn't be handling things this way because it's damaging, it's harmful to children. I'm going to get involved and pursue it when she would rather go to Bali and have, a vacation. It's like,
Yeah.
this is my thing. I have to do this. This is part of being a man. And at the same time, this is not saying that women are that's not important to women, but it's not the critical ingredients for women. They have a different profile. And so as men, we need to be able to embrace our females, the feminine part of this world, and embrace that fully for the juicy, wonderful, creative, inspiring, muse-like capacity that they have, right?
Yeah.
And the compassion and passion and just kindness that they just express when they're at their best, right? We wouldn't ask them, if we asked them to be more like us, it would be a mistake. So
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
genetic energetics, we have differences. Sometimes we're very similar energetically, sometimes we're very different. And the key is to not see the differences as division, but to see them as an opportunity to learn and grow and discover each other.
I love it, man. Okay. I got a question about that then. I know this is super general, and in your work, I think there are some generalities that you can bring into your work. Like earlier, you talked about co-creation, and then there are some things that are super specific, like give me your birthday, dad's birthday, all these things, mom's birthday. So let's see how far we can go with this. But if you're at your best, man's at his best, woman's at his best. As a man, I'm respecting, embracing, looking for, celebrating the divine feminine. She's doing the same, the divine masculine. Go save the world, honey. How'd you do today? You got any wounds you need me to lick? Whatever. But when that's not in place and the opposite is true, it's like, he's working so much. Why is he never here? Why is he off doing this, doing that? Right? Like that support and celebration is totally gone. Probably a lot missing, but for your first response to that, what's missing that we're not respecting and celebrating, rather we're, tearing each other down in that way?
Ooh, it could be a lot of things that are missing.
Yeah, it's loaded. I
You
get
know,
it.
that's a really load. It is, I mean, it's a question that can be answered so many different ways because it could be as complex or as simple as the fact that there may be a childhood trauma that's unresolved, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And what she wants from you and why she wants it from you may have something to do with being abandoned or abused or something that was not healthy at a young age. And I'm talking about pre-7, something that they're not even aware of. I mean, we all walk around with traumas, right? And in fact, I think the ego is part of what provides our ego is the trauma experiences that we've had in our lives. And not all traumas have to be huge things. You can stub your toe and that's traumatic, right?
Yeah.
You have to put up with it. But traumas can also be enormous. And and there's traumas that live in our body that are somatic. So right at the get-go, like I may work with couples and I do. I'm called a love restoration coach. That's what I do. Part of my coaching. And I will work with people, cognitive therapy, a variety of maybe NLP, some hypnotherapy, but eventually, sometimes, if I'm not getting anywhere, it's like we have this great conversation. Everybody goes, "Oh God, that's so enlightening. That's perfect," but it doesn't change their behavior.
Yeah.
Then I have to ask what else is in the way. And oftentimes, what else is in the way is some form of trauma. And in that becomes characteristics that show up later when the husband or the wife don't show up the way they need them to, right? Something comes up and we immediately, it triggers the past. And and I don't have the bandwidth anymore to appreciate the fact that you're on a journey to provide certain things that are really progressing humanity forward. I don't have the bandwidth for it, and I'm feeling neglected and abandoned or whatever it might be. So we need to get
Yeah.
to the core of that, right? Most of the complaints that happen on the surface, like someone says something negative about us, or we have something negative to say about another person, that's not the real issue. It rarely
Yeah.
is ever the real issue. Rarely. It's something deeper. It's something deeper. If I'm talking to someone and they say something to me that really upsets them, and I just go, "Oh, wow, you're really upset." And then I take that upset and go, "What did I do wrong?" I don't know if that upset is because of something that's happening to them and has nothing to do with me,
Yeah.
or if it does have something to do with me. Either way, what I need to do is I need to inquire deeper. So in the book Lasting that I've just finished writing that's coming out, the first illumination is inquiry. Inquiry is about not looking for proof, but allowing ourselves to be surprised by what we discover,
Come on, man.
surprised by the truth, right?
That's powerful. There's you did a whole chapter on that, I guess, huh? There's a lot inside of what you just said there.
It's
Allowing
it's
yourself to be surprised and not looking for proof.
it's everything. If we look for proof, we'll find it, but it will
Totally.
never turn out to be what we thought it was going to be. Ever.
Yeah.
It does for maybe a short period of time. So someone that's like got this list of all these things that they want their husband or their partner to be, and now they're checking the stuff off. They're looking for proof. They're asking questions. They're watching you and everything so they can check it all off. Well, they're creating their own proof. When we look for things, we find what we're looking for almost always, but that's
True.
not always what we need. When we are in an inquiry state, when we're just curious, that's the child's mind or the beginner's mind. When we're in that place and we're just open to discovery, we discover so much more that we close ourselves off with anytime we look for proof. So if there's a challenge in the relationship, the very first thing the couple needs to do is go deep, discover what it really is about. And you know what? Here's the deal. We do so little of that. We're I'll just back up and make a statement that is critical. We're born seekers. We are born seekers. We're born curious. And then we're conditioned to conclude and judge,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
conclusion, as soon as we conclude and judge, we have cut ourselves off from seeing the real truth.
Yeah.
Someone cuts us off on a freeway. Oh, you son of a bitch. What are you doing like that? We have no idea.
Tesla drivers, BMW drivers, like
Yeah.
right away. See,
Whatever,
they're all
anything.
assholes.
And we have no idea they
Yeah.
may have a child in the back seat that they're racing to the hospital. We
Right.
don't know, right? But we just allow ourselves to get upset about it and go, at best for me, like I used to be one of those people. I go, jackass, right? And now when that happens, I'd stop myself and I go, I don't know. I don't know why they're driving that way. I wish they weren't because it's dangerous, right? But I don't know. And thank goodness no one's getting hurt right now.
Yeah.
And that's the best I can do. But when we get into relationships and we get used to our partners and our partners show up a certain way and then that way changes, we have to be very careful what we assume. And even the word love in the book, we remove it. We remove it from our vocabulary
Wow.
because love gets it gets leveraged against behaviors all the time.
I see.
Think of love languages, right? Which
Yeah.
is it has nothing to do with love. It's a great name. It's a very, it's the name for a book, very catchy name for a book. It helped the book get its legs in. But the key thing in that book is we're looking at circumstances and behaviors that are important to us. Is it important to know those things? You better believe it. Yes, very much so. But if you call it love, if you call acts of kindness love, then what
Yeah.
happens when someone isn't kind to you?
Then love is missing.
Then
They
love
don't
is
love me.
missing. Either I'm not lovable or they don't love me anymore. And
Yeah.
you know what? The kindness may be missing because the person just found out that their mother is in the hospital and may not live another week. Their
Yeah.
kindness may be missing because they just got fired from their job. It could be anything, but if we stop and go, oh God, the love's gone. This is horrible. And you go into that, then we don't give ourselves permission to really know what's happening. So love is one thing. It's our life force, Shawn.
Our
It's our
life
life force.
force.
We're breathing. You take a breath right now. Take a deep breath. Everybody listening to this, just take a deep breath in. Put your hand on your heart. That's love. That's love. That's what keeps this life alive. You got up this morning, you did the most unconditionally loving thing you could do. You chose another day.
Yeah.
I chose to live. That's it. You're good. Now, are there times when your heart feels broken? It's never broken, never ever broken, but it might feel that way because something you're used to is gone or is not available anymore, has changed, or someone passed away, something like that, and it has an impact, right? So what's going on is I'm sad, there's grief, I miss them, but to aim and say I'm broken, my heart's broken. How do we show up for ourselves if we're allowing this life force to be diminished in that way?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Yeah.
But we can have the conversation and go deeper and really discuss what it is. What is it really that we're missing? Is it acts of kindness? Is it physical touch? Is it gifts? Is it, you name it, anything that we treasure and desire and discover is really important to us, that it fills us up, that's an innate need, whatever it might be, something that we value more than anything else in the world. Speak to it and describe it clearly so everyone knows what it is. And then when that disappears, for whatever reason, instead of concluding or judging or depreciating yourself or someone else, ask questions like, honey, what's up? Why, it's like you're always so kind and so you always have a smile on your face, and I haven't seen it for a week. And it happened as soon as you came back from that business trip you were on. Can you imagine where that goes? Oh, he was on a business trip and now he's not talking to me anymore. Maybe he met someone else,
Hmm.
right?
Conclusion, right? It's conclusion. And the smile's gone, make a conclusion.
Yeah.
It's a it's a fascinating thing that you're talking about because it's this ancient mechanism that's in us, this primal survival mechanism that on some sense is very useful. Like a classic example, if I put my hand on a stove and I get burnt, It's like I can conclude that that stove, if it's red hot, I can burn myself and get hurt. And then that mechanism or that ability to conclude and judge or make assessments, then I think on some level we're attempting to make life easier. We're attempting we're seeking comfort in some sense. We're looking for an easier way to do things often. Sometimes it's a lot more appealing to sit on a couch versus go do a workout or something like that.
We're in
And
a
part of
con
that mechanism is jumping to a conclusion. Like you give me some details about you, you're like you said, flying down the freeway. It makes it a whole lot easier to have a conclusion about what that is, make up a story about what that is, believe the story. Now it strokes my ego too because I'm right. I just made myself right. That guy's an
Mhm.
asshole. Um, it's an interesting thing. I'll say one more thing about that. I know you have something to say too. I find I'm not perfect at this at all.
None of us are. None of us are.
Something I'm coach my clients on constantly when they are in long-term relationships, and if something went sideways, is that you actually don't know who your partner is today. Like you really don't know. You haven't met your partner if it's February 3rd, let's say Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2025, and you walk into the kitchen in the morning and you see your partner. You don't actually, you've never seen them February 14th, 2025 at 7:30 in the morning, ever. You've never experienced them at that point in time before. And if we have inquiry like you're suggesting, I can't be in awe and just smile and like be present with you and be open to who you are today. But if I'm not fully present, not conscious, I've already got you in a box of who I think you are based on probably who I think you were when we met, 10 years ago or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
And then I'm not interacting with this human being that's in front. I'm interacting with a person with a box, a shell of a person, a mold. And therefore I can't even be present with you. How can things change if I'm interacting with the mold of the person and not the person?
Yeah, you're dead on accurate with that. I remember when I first got clarity about what love really is, when I just like I remember the event and we were in circles, we were circling up and we had to pick a word. It was either education or love or one of those two, right? And
Mm,
and we pick love, and you know how you sit in a group and everybody goes around and gives you their definition, and and we do everything we can not to be thinking in our head what's mine, what's mine, what's mine, so that we can
yeah.
listen to what everybody says, right? And so I was doing that, and it finally got around to me, what came out is I realized, I went, so love is only in one place. It's only in the present. So this life force, we only know it for the present right now. It's definitely not in the past, because anything we experienced in the past that we called love or we defined as love is no longer so. It's the past. And it's definitely not in the future, because that would be something we're trying to construct, right?
Mm,
Or something that we want to reconstruct from something that happened in the past, but none of them are present, right? And so I'm thinking, well, if it's present, then what is that really? And that's what got me to the point where I just knew it couldn't be anything else other than our life force. And if you have that as a knowing, then when you step into the kitchen and you see your partner on February 14th, 2025, for the first time, right?
yeah, ever, man.
For the first time, you get to have the joy, the glorious experience of gratitude and the gift of the presence of a partner and partnership and desire and all the various things. I mean, just go down the list. Everybody's got could go on for days of things that they would come up with that go, and the beauty, and I can smell her. She was wearing, like, she just got out of the shower and had her favorite shampoo. And I can smell it over here, and I just want to go nuzzle inside her, in her neck, and just
Yeah,
hold her tight. Whatever, might come up for you. But it's that thing in that moment that not only is glorious and wonderful for you, it's glorious and wonderful for the person that you experience with, that you have that with,
totally.
because they in that moment feel seen, feel heard, they're recognized, and there's nothing more beautiful than that moment. In fact, This is fun. So there's only two times when we say to people we love them. Guess what they are?
Okay. Two times.
There's only two situations where we say to people that we
Um,
love them.
I'd say one is, you know, I did something wrong. Maybe I screwed up. Love you. That may be one. What would
And
be
that's
another? I say I
correct.
love you.
So
Yeah,
that
okay.
would be the time that you use love to kind of make things better. So it's a bit
Okay.
manipulative. It might be with good intent, but it's still a form of kind of manipulation. You either say, or you say, I love you, and you go, well, I love you back, because we feel like that will make you feel better, right?
Sure.
Or we
Yeah,
say, it's just somewhere there is either to make them feel better or for us to feel better, right? That's the goal of it.
I see.
And it's not necessarily a conscious one, but that's what you're doing. So that's the first one. Now the other one.
Huh. Okay. I say it all the time. Another like distinct moment that I'm connecting to right now when I say I love you is when we're really connected and I'm like super appreciative and super they're just super appreciative of her. Then it's like, man, I love you.
You're right
You
on.
know.
Okay. So in that second circumstance, what's happening is your partner is reflecting back to you who you are.
Oh man.
So it's in
Yeah,
that moment that you're seen and felt,
I
and
see.
the reflection back to you is what you're experiencing. So, in a way, when you say, I love you in that moment, what you're really saying is, wow, thank you. I love me. But that sounds a bit awkward. I tried to get people to do
Yeah.
that as a habit. Didn't go very well. Just they're so used to saying I love you.
I get it
But
though.
the point is that there's a reflection, and that reflection reminds you of who and what you are inside.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's
I
powerful.
I'll give you an example. This was fun, and it's totally not relationship oriented. But I was in a Home Depot, and I'm pushing my cart up the aisle, and someone's pushing a cart towards me the other way, and inside the cart are six baby pit bulls.
Oh my God.
And they're so cute, and they're wagging their tails, and they're jumping up the side of the cart, and I'm just going, "Oh my God, I love puppies!" And then shortly after I said that, I went, "No, I don't. Puppies, they piss and they shit and they whine, and they're really a pain in the ass, and they're cute, and I'm
Yeah.
glad they're someone else's, but it's like what I was saying is that their joy and their happiness and those wagging their tails is how I feel when I'm super happy myself. And they reminded
Yeah.
me of that level of joy. And so what I was saying is to the puppies, thank you. It reminded me what it's like to be totally joyful and playful, right?
Wow.
That
Yeah, and
was the
that's why we lie.
reflection.
Yeah, it's a reflection. That's why we love dogs so much. Generally speaking, we freaking humans love
They
dogs,
love
right?
dogs.
You can abuse them. I don't recommend you do that. You can neglect them. You can forget to feed them. And when they see you, it's just like,
Their tails are wagging.
hi, yeah, I'm
Hello,
so
yeah.
happy to see you. Like you're so perfect. You're
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, and
right.
there's some aspect of that reflection.
Yeah, even think about nature. I mean, if you haven't been out in nature for a while and then you walk into the woods and you stop and you just feel it, there'll be this moment where you'll go, I love nature. I just love
Yeah,
nature. And what's happening is in that moment, nature's reminding you of your connection to this planet, your stewardship of this planet, and how much it means to you to have the access to be breathing in the evergreens or whatever it is. And that's a piece of us as stewards of this planet that we're responsible for that we don't get a chance to experience that often. But when we get out in nature, it's like, ah, that's why it feels
yeah,
so amazing. It's a reflection
yeah.
of what we are and our responsibility to this planet.
Yeah, that's powerful, man.
So
Absolutely. One of my biggest game-changing moments ever was at Machu Picchu. And just, cell phones, just out in nature, just connected. I don't know, there's some ancient spirit there, it feels like, but at the same time, I could get that like something similar when I go out to the Rocky Mountains as well. And just connecting back in, just it's just that total presence, totally present, nothing else. Like just here in this moment. It's a
yeah,
beautiful thing.
yeah. And so when we're present for that, that's spectacular. That is spectacular. And in this world today, first of all, we're messy humans, so we
Yeah.
we do crazy things, we do silly shit, we make
Yeah.
mistakes, and we're going to do that because we're constantly growing and emerging and changing. In fact, if we stop growing, if we stop being curious, if we stop ourselves from allowing ourselves to change or emerge more in our life, then we're dying.
Yeah, I agree.
We stop life, and we begin to atrophy, and those lives become very short compared to someone who might live a century or longer, right? Because they're always open to the joy and the gift of our human experience. So where was I going with that? It just as human beings, we have this unbelievable opportunity to experience each other, and we're living in a world that's very fast paced and very complex, right? It feels like chaos all the way around, and it is chaotic. But the quickest way to simplify complexity is inquiry. And the quickest way to simplify complexity is to be that life force and be present for whatever's happening in front of you and be truly curious of who they are, why they're doing what they are, how do we best communicate, how do we interact with each other, how does this environment support us to be as whole and compassionate and kind and progressive as possible, how do we learn? What do we learn? What's the gift? Even in the greatest obstacles. And, I had one earlier today. We were fighting. I don't even like to use the word. We had a difference with the city in regards to
Mm,
permits, right?
yeah.
And it was invasive. I mean, it just like took so much state management. And at some point, I have to stop and go, what's the gift? What's the gift here? What am I learning? What am I discovering? And there are lots of them. We don't need to go into it in this call,
Sure.
but when you look at it that way, then you can't look for a gift and be a victim at the same time.
No, you can't.
You
And
can't.
and being a victim it's like one of the worst states. It's one of the worst places to be. It just is. It's hard to move.
It's hard to move. It's hard to move. It's hard to recognize others, right? When you're in that victim mode. In fact, most people, when they're in that victim mode, like company. And so they'll look for those people that are closest to them to make them involved or responsible for where they're at and where their issue is. And
Totally.
and who
Yeah.
gets that first? Usually the people that we're closest to, the ones that we're kindest to, the ones we live with, our partners, and we make that mistake. It's like you'll have it happen. You've been together for, a few years with your wife, and there'll be that one day that you'll say something, and as soon as you're done saying it and she's left the room, you go, "Oh, no, I didn't mean that." Right? And you'll just
I
know it's
definitely haven't
because
done
of
that yet.
yeah, it will happen at some point. It just
It
there's
was a
the
joke.
pressure will come up, and hopefully in that moment you get up and you chase her down the hallway or whatever, and you go, wait, 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 wait. That wasn't me. That was me reacting to something else. It had nothing to do with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's a true apology, not just a, I'm sorry, feel better about me. It's an apology that says, I'm going to do my best never to do that again.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
We're pretty good at that, man. We talk a lot about politics. It's like a
Ooh.
nightly thing, especially right now, because there's so much change. There's so much change happening right now. It's like moment to moment to moment. And I love talking about it, man. And she does too. She's tuned in, she's paying attention, and we were talking about something the other night, and we weren't on the same page about it. But I was irritated already. I was tired. I was already irritated. I was overwhelmed by something. And I don't even remember what I said, but I was being short with her, being rude. And I realized it. And I just I caught it, and afterward I just said, you know what? Like I don't even remember because wasn't a sticking point, but it was like something to the tune of like, I'm sorry about that. My mind was someplace else. I was already irritated. I had another conversation on my mind, like, and she got it right away. Fortunately, we have that. But this also makes me talking with you, talking with the other experts, and even doing coaching, so much coaching, it constantly has me in this question of I'm really aware of what I catch. Like in that moment, I caught it. And I could pump myself up and be like, Larry, I caught it, man. But I'm not always aware of what I'm not aware of. And I know that. I'm aware that I'm not aware in some places. So like you're saying with inquiry, I do my best to stay in inquiry, or at least like what I what have I missed? You know? We sat down and had a conversation last night, and I just said I know I'm missing things. I know I'm missing things with you. I know I am. I don't know. I know what some of them are, and I don't know what other ones are.
Yeah. And it's going both ways for sure.
Yeah.
Um, you just reminded me of something that I want and then I want to come back to what you just said. But when you were talking about conclusion and judgment,
Yeah.
you use the word discernment. And to me, that's a critical word. That if we can take inquiry and it gives us an opportunity to be more discerning, then we're approaching things in a very positive way. When we conclude and judge, we're quick to want to have answers either to protect ourselves or to make things simpler or to get through this to the next thing. We have a target in mind, and or we just don't want to deal with something. So we judge quickly, we conclude quickly. But discernment is about gathering information so we can make a good decision,
Mm.
right? So yeah, that's just for me, vocabulary wise, it became really important to think to ask, did I just conclude? Did I just judge something? Or am I discerning? Do I have enough information? And that gets me right back to inquiry, right?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the distinction going back to what you were talking about earlier. Now coming to the what you were just discussing, which is, there's I'm clear there's some things that we're missing or things that aren't quite landing quite, clearly for both of us, or I'm not seeing all of it. Well, you have two different communication styles, Shawn. Your structural talking style, like I am. And this is,
Yeah.
folks, for those listening, this is genetic energetics. This is the profile you're going to be able to get later. So there's two different communication styles. One is structural and one is called figurative. Your
I'm gonna pull that
structural.
up as you as you talk about it. I'll pull mine up.
So you're structural, which means you pick your words to mean exactly what you want to say. Right?
Yeah.
And when people talk to you, you take them literally. So you and I, we're both structural, we're both moderate active, we're very similar in our genetic energetic profiles. So we can talk all day long, and it's unlikely we'll ever misunderstand each other, but we could disagree with a ton of things. Right. So, and disagreements are fine as long as they're not disagreements that are based on misunderstandings. Right. So that's because we're the same communication style. Now, Stacy is figurative. And
Yeah.
so
Or
she
yeah, yeah.
and what that means is that the conveyance of an emotion is more important than the word itself. Okay. So we could be sitting here and talking and saying, it's really important that we get this done by this time. And if we don't get it done by this time, it's going to be a bit of a struggle, at the end of the hour. And, we've got two words that we brought up, important and struggle. You heard them, right? They made perfect
Yeah.
sense to you. But someone listening who's figurative may hear us and they watch our mouths moving. They go, I see those two talking to each other. They seem to understand each other, but they don't hear important or struggle. Now, for them to hear that, we've got to go, it's really important, like super important that we get this done because it's going to be a horrible struggle if we don't have this done by the end of the hour. Right. And in that moment, when they hear all that emotion, they go, oh, wow, why didn't you say so before?
Yeah. It's
And
like I
you,
did.
and yeah, I did. I said it three times, but that you can't expect someone who's figurative talking style to pick up on just words by themselves. They need to feel the emotion. And so if all we're doing is talking like this all the time and not putting any emotion into it, they will put emotion into it for us. And there comes a misunderstanding.
Mm.
Like you said this word, you said you were angry, and or you said you were upset, and they may go, yeah, you said you were angry. Or someone, I'll talk to a client and they'll go, yeah, they yelled at me. And I'll go, they yelled at you? Because yelling, to me, that word is a form of abuse, right?
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But for this person, it was just that they were more elevated. They didn't even yell. They just were more excited about what they were saying. And to them, it felt like
Mm.
yelling. And then they reported it to me that they were yelling at him and it was abusive, right? And I'm going, well, wait a second. What really did happen?
That's
So
fascinating, man.
so I got to go in and ask questions. Tell me what you really experienced? Well, they said this and this, but did they raise their voice? No, but it scared me because they use these words, right? But what about it scared you? And it's how they interpreted the word. They didn't hear an emotion. They knew there had to be emotion there, or why would they use that word? Right.
Yeah, that's
And
fascinating.
and it wasn't at all what happened. And so we just have to be very careful when there's different communication styles. And half the population is figurative and half the population is structural. So it's not going to be just our wife. It's going to be our best friends. It may be a relative. It could be our mom or dad or sister or someone we work with. And in all those situations, we need to be aware that we're speaking two different languages. And I'm not talking about
Yeah,
French and German.
yeah, yeah,
And and the key here is that we need not to change how we speak, but to be aware of how we speak and the impact it has. Because your natural way of speaking is structural.
yeah,
Mine is structural. I've been working with genetic energetics for 2 decades, and so I'm kind of a little multilingual. But I
yeah,
got news
yeah.
for you. When I'm talking with structural people, you and I talking before this call, I didn't need to put any extra emotion or emphasis into the words. I knew you knew it was we were clear, right? But
Totally.
if
Yeah,
I'm on a call with a couple and both of them are figurative talking style and they speak faster than me, and process information faster than me, I know I need to emote a lot, and I need to know I also need to talk at the speed and say everything I need to say as quickly as I can so I can get it out, because they know if I'm talking like this, what would normally take a half hour will only take 15 minutes, and 15 minutes is just the right amount of time, right?
totally. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that extra speed is like I can watch it. There's people, if I could see all the people that were listening to this, as soon as I started talking that fast, everybody would be smiling. That's
Yeah.
super active. They'd all be going,
Yeah, totally. Why you guys, th
go,
those are the
go,
ones
Larry, keep
listening
going,
on.
man. Don't slow down. Keep going.
Yeah, don't slow. Well, those are the ones I'll put 2 times speed on as an option for those folks. They can listen 2 times. I usually listen 2 times speed when I listen to things, but I don't always talk 2 times speed. I talk probably
Well, this
0.75
well,
times speed.
the speed you're talking now, right?
Yeah,
This is comfortable. And you're what's called moderate active. So you process information at a different speed than someone
yeah,
that's super active. You can go like a bat out of hell. You've been on interviews all day long. And when you get
yeah,
to your last interview, there's going to be this opportunity for you to just go, ah, and you
totally.
don't need to know what you're doing next. You don't. But the super active person loves to have that structure. They love to know what they're doing next. And when they don't have it, it feels uncomfortable in their body. So,
That's interesting.
yeah. So,
Yeah, that's
understanding this,
interesting.
like, why is this important? It's just
Yeah,
important so that we can honor the difference, right? We can honor and
yeah.
embrace it.
Yeah, and be effective, right? It's like I think at the end, well, I think at the end of the day, it's about connection. I don't know if
Totally.
there's a greater end result for me other than connection. Like it's about connection. And then prior to that, then it's about being effective in our communication.
Right.
So and there's so many things that can go sideways in communication just based on what you're saying, just on those two interpretive styles.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And it's not just how, and it's communication, and it's how you run your lives. It's the way you listen. Super active people have to stop themselves from finishing other people's sentences all the time. Thank goodness they're kind enough to, let us talk.
Yes, I love that you said that, man. This is great.
They do. It's like, well,
Yeah.
thank you for letting me finish. And you know what? They do it because they've the ones that really understand. They do it because we surprise them sometimes. Like they think they know what we're going to say, but then we say something, they go, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." Right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
and so they kind of learn not to jump ahead in conversations. But just knowing it gives, first of all, you the opportunity to honor yourself and how you show up and feel really comfortable in your own skin. And same thing for your partner. And then if you get to see what those differences are and you're aware of them, it's a huge deal. All the way down to
yeah,
sexuality, because there's two different ways that we access our sexuality. And they're very, very different. and statistically, from our side, that's where most relationships don't last over time if they don't know that difference and how to
Powerful.
accommodate for it. Super powerful, super important.
Larry Michael, man. Listen, I am thinking about what's next if I'm being honest. And that's a breakdown on my part because I don't think I gave this enough time for how much time I know that you and I need could use to chat, but I'm going to jujitsu here in a little bit and I'm about to be getting choked unconscious shortly.
Yeah,
So
I was
that's
just
a
going to
little
say,
bit on
that's
my
all right.
mind.
Go abuse yourself. Go, just go. Get,
Yeah. So
oh my
let me
God.
do this. Prior to wrapping, man, I love chatting with you. I know now we could chat for a much longer period of time. And I would love to have you back too, because there's so much that we can dive into with the personality. Maybe we do it again even and figure out a way to have people preemptively take the assessment or the test on there ahead of time and then come and get some information with already being tuned
That's
into their own
that's really
results. That may
fun.
be an idea.
Yeah,
So,
that's really fun. I actually did an interview earlier this morning, and everybody on there had done their profiles,
okay. Well,
and it
that
was
idea
really
just
something.
came to me.
Yeah,
Maybe we can chat offline and figure something like that out for the future. I
for
think that could
sure,
be helpful.
for
But
sure.
I'll plug this when I send this interview out. I will link this for you, but take a moment, share with people what they're getting with this personal energetic profile.
So what it's going to do is it's going to tell you how you communicate, how you process information, how you relate to money, how you sexually engage. It's also going to give you information about chemistry, who you actually will be attracted to, and whether it's safe to follow it or not. So it'll tell you a little bit about that. And then there's personality modifiers. So Shawn, you, for example, are an achiever. You get shit done. You go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, and you're 100% present for each thing you do. And
Yeah.
achievers do that better than any humans on the planet.
Mm.
And I also know that if someone comes in and says, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do this?" and keeps interrupting your plan, it's very it's very destabilizing. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I interpret that as like disrespectful. It could be, depending on who's doing it.
well,
But
some people are or can multitask. You don't multitask. In fact, if you're trying
oh
to,
man.
you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And for your partner, she needs to know that when she's your task, there is not a person more present than an achiever for a partnership. But
Totally.
when she's not your task and you're focused on something else, she may have a moment of thinking, "Where's the love? Where's the affection?" Because you're so focused on other things that it's almost like they don't exist. So they need to be aware of that and go, "Oh yeah, he's on a podcast. He's recording something. There's no way
Yeah.
I would
I'm
get his
looking at hers
attention
while
there."
you say that.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you just left me for her. Thanks a lot, bud.
I, no, it's come on, man. You led me
Anyhow,
there.
and she deserves it, right? Way more important than me. So there's 6 modifiers in the system. And all it's going to do is ask you to provide your birth date. Don't lie. You got to tell the truth. Your birth date and the birth date of your opposite gender biological parent. So if you're a man, it's your mom. And if you're a woman, it's your dad. Now, some people don't have this, Shawn. They don't have that information. That's okay. Run the profile anyhow. Without it, you'll get all the information, but not the attractions piece.
Okay.
Okay. And you're going to get a link that's going to take you to a page where you have to create an account so that we keep everything secure. Once you create an account, go back in and run your profile. And if you want, you can go in again after you've run your own and run someone else's if you've got a partner. And if you want to go deep, this is like a report that's like 5 pages long. If you want to go deep, there is a thing called an energetic romance report. And those
Okay.
are between 38 and 93 pages long. So
Okay.
they're very in depth. So there's that.
Cool.
And we'll give you the link. And the other thing I'm going to give you a link to is our publicizer campaign for the advanced orders on lasting on our book.
Okay.
So when we talked
Cool.
about co-creation, it's in the book. Inquiry,
Yeah, good. That was
diversity,
something else.
the piece about love, and talk about wanting to really discover, really discover who you and your partner are together. The questions in this book are designed to define the answer for you, the answer for her, and the answer for the two of you together. So,
Powerful.
and how to go deep with them. It is It's such a cool book. We even got an endorsement the other day that said you've just written the new 10 commandments for modern day partnerships.
That's badass.
And yeah, it was like so cool.
When's it releasing?
It's so it can be pre-ordered now.
Okay.
In fact, the people that pre-order the book now are going to get a free entrance to a 5 week long virtual retreat for the
Okay.
whole illumination system.
Cool, man.
It's a
And
one-time offer. So I'll give you
and
that
let
link.
me, yeah, do give me that. I'll link that as well. Make sure I'm just saying this to hold me accountable to that. I have your link already like in a spreadsheet. So make sure you send that to me. I may not remember unless you do.
As
Okay.
soon as we get off this call, I'll send it to you.
Okay, that's perfect. And let me ask you one more question about the
Sure.
profiles because you have the main profile, you create an account, and then you guys, gals that are listening, I did it. It's simple. It's not like a big hurdle. You create the account. It's very quick. You get the report right away. My question for you, you mentioned the romance. Uh,
Romance reports.
yeah, the romance report am I doing that for myself and like Stacy does that for herself, or is that based on a partner? Are they two
That's
separate
based
or are
on a
they?
partner. It's a
Okay, so
partner.
we both plug our information in and then
Right.
it's giving less, it's a romance for both of
Right.
us. Like
So
it's
so the
us.
report I did for you that I sent you right
Yeah.
at the beginning, that's the romance report. And that
Yeah.
goes into
Okay.
detail, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Cool.
so
Oh,
that
sweet,
puts the
man.
two of you side by side, and then it goes through,
Yeah.
it describes the characteristics, but it also talks to you about how to work with them.
Okay.
And
Sweet, man. I'll get you that date actually too, because I got her dad's birthday. So I'll get you that if maybe we could get it updated. I
cool.
don't know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For
Okay,
sure.
man. All
Absolutely.
right. Larry,
All right.
man. And I just say this because it's important. It's a special part in the conversation where it's you and I and other people, right, that we don't see. But in this attention economy where it's so easy to lose your focus, like, oh my God, they're talking for more than 45 seconds. I got to jump to something else, right? But somebody made it to the end. Multiple people are still with us and tuned in. And I just think for those people, something opened. There's an opening. And I want for those people, I want to say to you, take action because if something interested you, clearly, unless you hate us both and you're judging us both for an hour, probably not. Like something open for you, jump into that opening, grab the report. You may learn something that actually could be a game changer for you. So that's my call to action to the audience. And then Larry Michael, my man, thanks, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
We get these things,
appreciate it as
right?
well.
Can I get the hearts out of here? Let's see if we can get it to do it.
There we go.
Sometimes it does it, sometimes not. Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate what you're doing. I love the focus of this particular program and what, it's just helping people have the best possible deeply connected relationships. There's no greater thing that we can give to each other.
It's a magical thing, man.
Yeah, it
Yeah. So
is.
thank you. Thanks for bringing what you brought, man. I appreciate that. And
Welcome.
perhaps we'll do it again.
Cool. Very cool.
All
Thank
right.
you.